And when Joe Biden insulted you by saying, you ain't really black, we don't know whether or not you want to vote for me or vote for Donald Trump, it seems to me that should have been a wake-up call on your part. How dare this guy come in here and insult you, a black man, and tell you you got to think a certain kind of way? I'm amazed that you weren't mad about that.
Hey guys, before we begin, I'd like to give a shout out to all the new subscribers to this channel. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch these videos. I hope you find it enjoyable and informative. If you haven't done so, please hit that like button. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell to get notified of future videos. Now we're going to continue with part 2 of the Larry Elder v. The Breakfast Club interview. If you haven't seen part 1, I'll leave a card in the upper right hand corner for you to see that. Please take the time to watch that, then come back to this one because it's a doozy. Let's watch.
The average Japanese American household has a higher per capita income than the average white household. The average Chinese American household has a higher per capita income than the average white household. How does that happen? It happens because of a strong belief in family. It is rare for a Chinese American or a Japanese American kid to have a child outside of wedlock, and a strong belief in education and a strong belief in entrepreneurship. These are the kinds of qualities that make people successful.
You can't blame everything on having a fatherless family, right? Because
he's not saying that. He's not saying blame everything on a father's family, but it's a contributing factor. It is a factor, a big one, a big one. And again, they're just putting words in his mouth. He never said that. Just like in the last video, I mentioned that Charlemagne tried to put in Larry Elder's mouth that he says systemic racism is still alive today. He never said that either. This is what they do. Let's keep moving.
I didn't say blaming everything.
I know, but that's what you're saying. You're saying a strong community. But
no, you said that's what I just said. I didn't say that.
You talk about the Asian community. Asian community, it's easy for them to get loans for entrepreneurships. It's easy for them to get loans for houses. You look at our community.
Okay.
If you really want to talk about our community, right? You look at the schools in our community. Some of our schools are the worst, right? Would you agree with that? Yes or no?
Absolutely. Which
right?
is why
one
of the reasons I'm running for president is for school choice.
Also, would you say that
it's easy to get loans because credit score, maybe income? Again, if you take a look at the last video, I pointed out articles where Chinese and Japanese Americans, there were laws against them, actual laws written against them, against their and riots against the Chinese. They overcame all of that. Now they're thriving. Average income higher than whites right now. And that's why they can get loans, because they have good income. That's why. I mean, it's not that difficult. See, that's what I'm saying. This is like surface level argumentation. It's not that difficult to discern or disseminate how this is happening. Come to a conclusion.
It's in our community. It's also in our communities heavy food deserts. There's nothing but fast food places that are just killing and destroying that. Would you say that's true?
Systemic too.
Everything's systemic with Charlemagne. Everything. Last time I checked, you can choose what to eat. Yes, there are fast food joints around you, but you can choose whether or not to go to McDonald's. You don't have to go to McDonald's. That's another thing. Learn how to cook in your home. Cook in your home. Know what you're eating. Obesity is on the rise. It's ridiculous in this country, especially in the black community. It's ridiculous. When the family was together, mother and father in the home, cooking was an everyday thing. Everyday thing. Now, McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, Bojangles, In-N-Out, whatever. But before it was just everything, they just cooking at home, making a meal. Ask girl out today, does she know how to cook? I'm going off tangent, but does she know how to cook? Her grandmother probably did.
Boy.
You say that's true. I'm just asking a question.
You said a number of things. I just addressed one of them about loans. Mm-hmm. In 1965, Barack Obama, who was in private practice, joined a bunch of other lawyers to file a class action lawsuit against Citicorp, which is headquartered here in New York. 186 black people were applying for loans for mortgages and didn't get them. And they accused Citicorp of engaging in racism. Mm-hmm. Citicorp said, no, it's not racism. You have poor credit scores, and we want to make sure we get our money back. Obama joined a bunch of other lawyers, and they sued Citicorp in a class action lawsuit. And Citicorp said, okay, to hell with it. Gave them all loans. And They followed them all up. Daily Caller did a few years later. Almost all of them lost their homes. Several of them filed for bankruptcy. One of them even said, when you don't qualify for a loan, maybe we shouldn't get a loan. Well, duh. It wasn't true that black people were not getting loans. Plus, there are all sorts of black-owned community banks around the country, and it turns out the turn-down rate when you apply for a loan at a community bank was even higher because they had less capital and they couldn't afford to loan money to risky people. It is just not the case that the reason for the plight of the black community is because people were not lending money to them. It's just not true.
It's not true at all. Again, banks will give loans if you have good credit history, show that you can repay that loan. But if you don't have that, if you don't have those things, it's like if you have a friend, I mean, it's really easy. If you have a friend, you have to shake that person down to get your money back, $20. Then would you loan money to that person knowing his or her rep? I mean, it's really simple. Banks also have to think the same way. Hey, I don't know you, but I know your credit score. I could look it up. If your credit score is crap and you don't have much of a history, then I'm kind of hesitant in loaning you money. Why would they just give you money? Like, this contributes to the housing crisis we had in 2008. Just here's a loan. Here's different types of loans. Here you go. People are not thinking about the grace period where your interest rate would jump, 5-10 points after a certain amount of time. This is just stuff I'm thinking off the top of my head. But Breakfast Club, they have guests all the time. They should know all this stuff. They have laptops right in front of them. Unbelievable.
Not true, but hold on 1 second, Charlamagne.
What's not true?
You're bringing back facts from 1965, right? Let's talk 2023, right?
I said 1995.
1995. We'll talk 2023, right? My son will be successful in real estate and successful in buying a house. You know why? Because his father owns his house.
Because
his father owns a house, right? But my father
because of you and the drive you put into him.
Did not own houses.
Because of you and the drive you put into him.
We're not going to have a conversation.
You're not even appreciating what you've done to your son.
I'm just asking you a question. I just let you speak and I'll let you talk.
Okay.
I can talk. We have a conversation. But when we talk about it, right, it's harder for our community to get loans, right? And not just because of poor credit scores. It's because of where the areas are. You talked about the Asian community. A lot of the Asian community have their own banks and they're able to process and get their own banks. There's not too many African American branches that are able to give out money. So that's one. Then let's talk about getting grants for schools. They're not even giving grants for schools at the rate that they're giving grants for white people. And let's talk about when they talk about entrepreneurship. They are giving so much money to these white and Asian kids and Asian people doing it, and 1,000 times less than our community. Will you agree to any of that?
No, I don't. I don't agree with virtually any of what you just now said. The turn down rate for a white applicant for a mortgage is higher than the turn down rate for a Japanese or Chinese applicant for a mortgage. Now, are you telling me that banks are discriminating against white and in favor of Asian Americans? It's because their credit scores are better. They often live below their means. They save more, even when they're making the same amount of money than black people do.
First off, Envy's son will do well, according to Envy, because, again, Envy is an example. Envy is in the home. Envy can teach his son what to do and what not to do. His son can look at his father and say, okay, Dad, I see you doing this. I'm learning from you doing X, Y, and Z. How can I copy that? How can I even do better than what you're doing right now? What mistakes have you made that I can avoid? And if I do make a mistake, how do I deal with that? How do I mitigate risk? He has his son, Envy's son, has his father in the home to guide him through those things. Many children, particularly in the black community, don't have the father in the home for that. Now, again, not to say that children without a father can't be successful. Many children get through those obstacles and are able to become successful, very successful, mind you, very successful. Okay, it's just a little harder because you have more obstacles. The less obstacles you have, the more likelihood you have towards success. But of course, success is not just because you have a father. It's also because you have to have the drive, perseverance, the push, all those things, all those characteristics. Okay, leadership capabilities, all those things. But having a father in a home is something that helps a child understand those things. Okay, because hopefully, a father is a leader, is a provider, someone who can guide his child to reach those things, reach those goals. Now, if you, on a little side here, ask Dame Dash how well Envy can do for his son or his children when it comes to inheritance and everything. I'm sure he has something different to say.
Can you give it to your son?
How you what to my son?
Whatever you
Shares of
working
this
for.
company? I
Yeah.
absolutely positively can.
How?
Right, because I own shares of this company.
You bought him?
Yes.
What I'm saying is, can your son eat? Is this yours to give the whole company
This
to
full
your
company is
I'm
not my
asking-
son's. No,
Exactly.
It's not mine. But I
Can,
own
wait,
shares of
stop.
this company.
Listen. That's
I'm
not my
listening.
question. If your son needs a job here, can you give it to him? No.
No.
If your son needs to get some money out the bank from here, some cash flow, can you get it?
No.
All right. You don't own this.
But I can take
Stop.
the, I
I'm
can
just
take the
telling
money
you.
from here to invest in
No,
myself.
it's not yours. I'm not gonna fight for something I don't own. Men don't do that. I don't fight for other niggas. I fight for me. I'm not a doula. I'm not gonna build somebody else's company and then pick shares so my son can. All that.
See, but I'm not
no,
fighting for this
listen,
company,
listen.
though.
What I'm saying.
But what about taking
I'm
the
not-
money?
you
Like
come
the
to
same
work
way you
every
took the
day.
money from
I
Def Jam.
I
or
didn't take.
whoever.
Stop. Don't say.
I
You're
come to
speaking
work
my
because I
business and you
enjoy
don't
it.
know what you're talking about.
But again, having a father in the home is a factor, not the deciding factor, but a factor in leading your child towards success.
If you have poor credit score, you're not going to get a loan. Period. End of statement. Even
but
the
sir,
head
it's
of
more white
even the head of
people.
Urban League, even the head of Urban League, a black man once said,
See, here she is, the banshee, okay, the hyena, interjecting, not letting him finish. Larry Elder is responding to DJ Envy. He's talking man to man, and she just has to come in and interrupt. You see what I'm talking about? Just listen instead of interrupting.
that if you have poor credit score, you're not going to get a loan. End of statement.
Sir,
Yes.
let's just, okay. When you were talking about crime, you weren't prepared to talk about disproportion. You talked about how it was more black people that was doing it, and then you talked about how we're the smaller, other population. The same applies also to the loans. It's more white people than it is black people. You seem to pick and
I'm
choose.
talking about
when
the
you want
rate.
to do-
I'm talking about the rate.
Whatever it is, the bottom line is it's more white people than it is black people. And so if more black people are not getting loans disproportionately, it seems you'd only want to apply the disproportion to the conversation when it benefits your talking
I'm not
points,
sure you
which
understood.
is why they said,
I'm not sure you
No, I
understood.
understood.
I'm not sure you understood my point. That's why I mentioned in 1995 when 186 black people who were not getting loans filed a class action lawsuit claiming that they were denied the loan because of racism. Citicorp said, okay, here are your loans. The reason I wasn't giving you the loans is because we're afraid you weren't going to be able to pay them back.
I'm not talking about
Fast
this,
forward,
sir.
they weren't able to pay them back, which proved
sir,
the
I'm not
Citicorp
talking
point.
about that. I'm not talking
I
about
know
that.
you're
I'm
not,
talking about your
'cause it's
response. I'm
inconvenient.
talking-
It's inconvenient. See, he just dismantled her argument, and she wants to duck and dodge. You see how she duck and dodge? This pseudo intellect right here. All of them, all three of them are pseudo intellects. Okay, but her in particular, she brings up a point. He says, no. This is how it is right here. This is an example I already explained to DJ Envy, and now she wants to dismiss it. This is the Breakfast Club, folks. Countless guests. Have they learned anything? Now, before we continue going over the interview between Larry Elder and the Breakfast Club, I thought it was necessary to go over the article Larry Elder referenced in regards to home loans being given to people of Chicago. Daily Caller. With landmark lawsuit, Barack Obama pushed banks to give subprime loans to Chicago's African Americans, 2012. President Barack Obama was a pioneering contributor to the national subprime real estate bubble, and roughly half of the 186 African American clients in his landmark 1995 mortgage discrimination lawsuit against Citibank have since gone bankrupt or received foreclosure notices. As few as 19 of those 186 clients still own homes with clean credit ratings, following a poor decade in which Obama and other progressives pushed banks to provide mortgages to poor African Americans. The startling failure rate among Obama's private sector clients was discovered during Daily Caller's review of previously unpublished court information from the lawsuit that young Obama worked on as attorney for the lead plaintiff. Since the mortgage bubble burst, some of his former clients are calling for a policy reversal. If you see some people don't make enough money to afford the mortgage, why would you give them the loan? Good question. Ask Obama client John Buckingham. There should be some type of regulation against giving people loans they can't afford. Banks, quote unquote, were too easy to lend to many who didn't qualify, said Don Bias, another client who saw banks lurch from caution to bubble inflating recklessness. I don't care what race you are. You need to keep financial wisdom separate from trying to help your people, said Bias, an auto worker. Nonetheless, Obama had pursued the same top-down mortgage lending policies in the White House. Obama's lawsuit was one element of a national anti-redlining campaign led by Chicago's progressive groups, who argued that banks unfairly refused to lend money to people living within so-called quote-unquote red lines around African-American communities. The campaign was powered by progressives' moral claim that their expertise could boost home ownership among the United States' most disadvantaged minority, African Americans. Progressive activist ambition instead contributed greatly to a housing bubble that burst in 2007, crashed the nation's economy in 2008, wiped out at least $4 trillion in equity, kept unemployment above 8% for 4 years, and damaged the intended beneficiaries of looser mortgage lending standards. In the White House, Obama has continued to intensify regulatory pressure on banks to provide more risky loans to African Americans and Latinos. He has used lawsuits to fund his allies, and taxpayers are now unwittingly contributing to a reinflation of housing prices. Meanwhile, the president has blamed the housing bubble on supposed GOP deregulation, even though President George W. Bush expanded the regulation expanding anti-redlining policies established by progressives during Bill Clinton's presidency. Quote, Governor Romney's plan would roll back regulations on big banks, unquote. Obama says of his Republican challenger Mitt Romney in a 2012 TV ad titled The Choice. But you know what? We tried that top-down approach. It's what caused the mess in the first place. The lawsuit. Faye Clayton, a Chicago progressive activist, initiated the discrimination lawsuit in 1994. Obama's employer, a lawyer named Judson Minor, allied with Clayton to file a class action lawsuit a year later. Obama appeared at Clayton's office, quote, saying he was the new associate on the case, unquote. Clayton said in a statement to the Daily Caller, quote, I remember Obama arriving. He was industrious. He enjoyed the work. He was clearly smart and dedicated, unquote. The suit named 3 African-American plaintiffs, but later added 183 whom Citibank or its subsidiaries had allegedly rejected for mortgages in 1993 and 1994. Some of the plaintiffs told the DC about their rejections by Citibank. Citibank's lending agent, quote, told me that I needed to put thousands of dollars down to increase equity. I was so upset that I said, do I look like I have stupid on my forehead? Said Mountstein McCleary. Baez said he had a Citibank mortgage on his property in Austin, a West Side Chicago neighborhood, but was rejected when he sought a mortgage to buy a house in the troubled Maywood district. Quote, Chicago had been redlining people for years and years, and you knew this kind of crap happened, end quote, said Dale Freeman, an operations manager at the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago. He quickly got a loan from another bank to buy a house in a wealthy South Side neighborhood of Hyde Park, where he and his family still live. Citibank defended the cautious way it loaned out its shareholders' money, saying that the underwritten criteria was racially neutral on their face, and that each of the named defendants was denied the home loans he or she requested due to his or her lack of financial qualifications, according to a June 1995 summary by the judge who heard Obama's discrimination case. Citibank had significant amount of data to back up its case. For example, when the 186 clients submitted their names for compensation in 1998, it turned out that at least 19 had bankrupted or received foreclosure notices even before 1997. Another 18 of the 186 clients would go under within 3 years because of financial pressures. Yet Citibank settled the case in December 1997. Downsides. To meet their anti-redlining promises, executives ditched their caution. Street-level officers soon began offering loans to people with little chance of repaying, including many of Obama's eventual clients. Banks were, quote, financing people who had no jobs. The pendulum swung the other way. Renee Brooks, an accountant and one of 3 main plaintiffs, told the DC, quote, they didn't check out certain people and they got loans and they couldn't afford them in the first place. Juanita Malone, another Obama client, told the DC. I think that really was, to me, not professional. In the late 1990s, quote, money became available to everyone and their brother-in-law. Individuals who got money easily and who don't have a good background or a good education would expect to suffer the consequences. Another downside was that the extra money inflated house prices. Buyers used their easy mortgages to bid against each other for nice houses, and the resulting property bubble ensured that many African Americans, and by 2007, many Hispanics in the Southwest, faced unaffordable monthly payments. Skip down a little bit here. Even before the 2007 crisis, at least 48 of Obama's 186 African-American clients bankrupted or received foreclosure notices. Bankruptcies. At least 46 of Obama's 186 clients have declared bankruptcy since 1996, often multiple times. That's a far higher bankruptcy rate than the rate for all Americans, for Chicagoans, and even for African Americans in Chicago. In a 2011 report, the Left of Center Woodstock Institute reported that just 4.25% of African Americans living in Chicago's most black neighborhoods went bankrupt between 2006 and 2010. By contrast, 11 of Obama's 186 clients, or 6.6%, went bankrupt during the same 5-year period. That bankruptcy is 50% higher than the rate among Cook County's African-American population and almost 3 times the bankruptcy rate of all Cook County residents, according to data in the Woodstock report titled Bridging the Gap 2. Foreclosures. At least 55 of Obama's 186 clients received foreclosure notices after 1998, many of them multiple times. Foreclosures were finalized for at least 39 homeowners, or 20%. That's at least 20 times the rate at which prime loans foreclosure over their lifetimes, and roughly 3 times the lifetime foreclosure rate of subprime loans. Now, that's just some of this article. If you want to read the rest of the article, I'll leave a link in the description below, so feel free to read it at your leisure. Let's get back to the interview.
Let me ask you a question, Mr. Elder. Donald Trump, Rudy Giuliani, and I'm pretty sure everybody who just caught a RICO with him in Georgia, they all had fathers, and they still ended up in jail. How did that happen?
This is Charlemagne. Did you hear that? Did you hear that question? First of all, last time I checked, neither President Trump or Rudy Giuliani are in jail. Okay? Neither of them are in jail. They've been indicted, yes. You saw their mugshots. Okay? But neither of them have been jail. Okay? That's number one. There's a big difference between being indicted and being put in jail. And number two, just because you have a father in the home does not guarantee that you are going to be following the law. Okay? Come on. This is low level IQ thinking. Do you see? And these are the people that the propaganda machine props up and shoves money towards to push a message out to others, in this case, other black people watching and listening to their program and taking it and soaking it all in. Okay? Mental disadvantage. Big problem.
Nobody said if you have a father, you won't go to jail. And nobody said if you didn't have a father, you were going to jail. My father never.
But guess what you did say, Mr. Elder? I'm sorry, respectfully.
May I answer his question?
Guess what you did say.
May I answer his question?
Let him finish his statement, Ted.
Okay.
My father never knew his biological father. He got thrown out of the house when he was 8, when he was 13 years old. 8th grade dropout, Jim Crow South, Athens, Georgia. Fast forward, my dad cleaned toilets, 2 full-time jobs cleaning toilets when I was growing up. Went to night school to get his GED, and then after that, he went to night school to learn how to operate a small restaurant. Age of 47, my dad saves his nickels and dimes from his job, starts a small restaurant near downtown LA. Fast forward, he retires in his 80s. He owned that restaurant. He owned property next door, plus the house that's still in our family. Not too shabby for somebody who did not know his biological father. It's not a death sentence. You still have choices. It's just much more difficult to raise a child on your own. Even Tupac Shakur said, "I know for a fact." Tupac, excuse me. I know for a fact. Had I had a father, I would have been more confident. I would have been more disciplined. End of quote.
Oh, so you mean that Larry Elder's father, who was around during Jim Crow, was able to do all those things despite not knowing his father? At a harder time than it is today, he was able to achieve those things. You see what I'm talking about? Okay, we're not back in the 1940s, 50s. We're in 2023. It is so much easier to be successful today than it was back then. You just have to be focused, weed out all the noise, all the people trying to weigh you down, to pull you back, to prevent you from getting over the one hurdle after another, okay? Because you have obstacles in life. Obviously, everyone does. Everyone who's successful has had obstacles, yet they've overcome it one way or another, okay? But instead of the Breakfast Club encouraging people, hey, just do it, keep doing it, keep pushing, keep driving, do it, you can do it. No, they just say systemic racism, white supremacy. So if you just take that as it is, why even try? Why should you have your children try? Breakfast Club. Now I see why Fredro Starr went off.
This your radio station.
Cause you know why?
This your block, nigga.
You know why? Cause I know it was an
You got
ambush.
ran off your own
I don't know
block.
what them guys had planned, so I had to get out the way.
You got ran off your own block, man. It's all good, though.
It happens. It happens to the best
Niggas
of
get
them.
pussy sometimes. Nigga.
Why we got an issue, bro?
Because you brought some shit up that I ain't like, nigga, and I don't like that, nigga. I ain't no bitch ass nigga.
I ain't say you was, but you
Don't
said
play
it.
me like that, nigga.
I don't know what you want me to do.
You can't do nothing, nigga. You can't do nothing, nigga. That's what I'm saying, nigga. You can't do nothing, big man. You
It's all
can't do
good.
nothing,
It's
nigga.
all good.
I
I
know
ain't
it's
here for
all
that.
fucking good, nigga.
I ain't here for that.
Nigga. Playing the garbage, nigga. Don't play me, nigga. My name is Fredro Starr. Do your Googles, nigga. What the fuck you gonna do, nigga? Play
All right,
me,
let's
nigga.
move on.
Did you
Let's
think I
move
said
on.
something wrong?
Yes. Hey, Breakfast Club, this is it. Years and years of guests, years of experience, talk radio, and they have nothing from it. Nothing at all. Let's keep it moving.
Well, how did all those white men end up in jail when they still had fathers? The Trumps and the Giuliani. I'm just asking the question. How did they end up in jail? They all had fathers.
Because some people commit crimes.
No, sir. Stop. My apologies for interrupting you earlier. I just couldn't stomach the answer that I knew you were going to say.
Couldn't stomach the answer.
Yeah, I couldn't.
Couldn't stomach the answer. I mean, the truth, and that she had no comeback, and she just unprofessional. Insufferable woman. Insufferable. All of them are, but this one in particular, insufferable. And some of y'all defending her. We, our women, blah blah blah. She's part of that. I mean, it's not with me. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Get another woman here who is professional, respectful to their guests. Okay? Be mindful of how to treat said guest. Larry Elder is running for president of the United States. Okay? He is a busy man. He just ran for governor of California not too long ago. Okay? He is a busy man. He took the time to come to your show. Vivek Ramaswamy took the time to come to your show. You treated him the same way you treated Larry Elder right now.
Stomach, because your actual answer to Trump being what was happening to him with the indictments, you actually said that the system was doing it. You said there was a two-tier system. This is your words.
That's right.
It was a two-tier system. So when it came to Trump, all of a sudden you now believe in this systematic thing that's happening to Trump. But then when it happens to black people,
but it's not about race. It's not about race. I
didn't ask you that. I asked you. Remember I made it easy for you and I took race out of it. Remember I said I'm just talking about the system.
See how condescending she is? First of all, I made it easy for you. That's very condescending. Very condescending. This man is 70 plus years old. Okay. He's seen and experienced a lot more than I'm sure she has. That's one. Number two, she is talking about race, talking about color. She might have dropped the word racism and systemic racism, but she still was asking who was in charge? Who was in charge? What color was Lyndon B. Johnson? What color was he? Check out my last video. What color was he? Again, who voted them in? Who voted the Democrats in? Who voted those people into power to push policies that work against black people?
I'm just talking about the system.
If you want to ask me whether I believe Donald Trump is being treated the same way as Joe Biden and is being treated the same way as Hillary Clinton, all of these people are white. All these people are white. There's a double standard.
Well,
Mr. Elder, you didn't hear my question.
You said that
you didn't hear my question.
You said some people commit crimes, so you do believe that Trump, Giuliani, they committed a crime.
I don't know.
But you just said some people commit crimes.
I said some people committed a crime. I didn't say Donald Trump committed a crime. If you ask me specifically whether I believe Donald Trump committed a crime, I don't.
Specifically about.
You see, exactly. He didn't ask specifically if it was Donald Trump and Rudy Giuliani who committed crimes. He just said some people commit crimes. Okay? Could be anybody. But again, Charlemagne now is putting words in Larry Elder's mouth. You see how it works? You see the type of interview that these three stooges are giving this man here?
Those people and why they ended up in jail and they all got fathers.
Well, Donald Trump is not in jail.
Oh, he got indicted.
Yeah, he got indicted. That's a far cry from being in jail.
Why did he get indicted?
Well, he got arrested, is what I'm saying.
He's
going to get arrested.
He got indicted, in my opinion, because the DOJ has a double standard. They let Hillary pass, for example. She clearly violated the Espionage Act by having an unsecured server in her basement.
Yes, exactly. They have a double standard. Again, it is not a race issue. It's a class issue. And it's a deep state. Basically, it's the deep state, the fourth branch of the government. Okay? They're trying to get Donald Trump. And if you have been paying attention, you know why they're trying to get Donald Trump. You know why. Okay, I don't have to go into it in this video. But that's why they're going after him. All right. They're going after him for various reasons. And it's nothing about these indictments. These indictments are foolishness. That's all it is. It's ridiculous. The latest one, Fannie Willis, ridiculous. RICO charge. Now, I will say this, that they will probably pin something on him because he's not going to get a fair trial. If you haven't heard, the Georgia trial will be live, mind you, and cameras. Okay, you people are going to see it alive. He's not going to get a fair trial at all. But why did he get indicted? Why did he get indicted? Because they're trying to bring a man down and prevent him from running for re-election. That's why. It's really simple. Very simple. Someone who is actually helping the black community, wants to give money towards the black community. Okay, his team willing to sit down with people like Ice Cube, for example. Did Biden end up sitting down with Ice Cube? But Trump was willing to talk. Okay, either Trump or his team was willing to talk to someone like Ice Cube. But again, liberal paid shills.
She paid for the Steele dossier. She
So
destroyed.
was it the system?
She destroyed 30,000 emails that were under subpoena, and she got a wrist slap. And Donald Trump is now being indicted, I think, for the 4th time. It's
man.
unfair.
Right.
Black
By
people
what,
been
the
telling y'all how
system?
corrupt the FBI is for a long time.
And the FBI has been corrupt. There was COINTEL, the FBI.
J. Edgar Hoover.
J. Edgar Hoover also wiretapped MLK under Robert Kennedy, a Democrat
And Malcolm X,
Attorney
and
General, Malcolm X, lots of things. Right. And I find it interesting how the same people who criticize the FBI historically are now defending the FBI because they're going after Donald Trump.
Oh, we're not defending the FBI.
I didn't say you were. I said some of the same people.
We're just looking and saying, damn, finally.
But what's your thoughts with
Justice is being
Florida?
served all across the board.
And you
See that snide comment. Just to be served all across the board. I hope that Charlamagne's never on jury duty. If you get him as a juror, oh man. And with that, I think I'm gonna stop right here. I was gonna make this a 2-parter originally, but I think because of the length of the interview, I'm gonna make a part 3 and release that later this week. But if you haven't, please hit the like button, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell to get notified of part 3 and of future videos. And until then, take care.